Hey, well, thanks for joining us. Depending on where you are in the world, it might be morning, evening, afternoon. It's lunchtime here in the East Coast, but we've got a great Malawi focus today. Thanks, Paul, for spreading the invite and bringing some more folks in. Uh, and Apasta, you're the main focus we wanted to talk to today. Our goal is to really just learn more about how you're using technology there in Malawi, particularly Starlink. We're super excited to hear how that's going. And Dave, it sounds like you've got a really exciting announcement about Starlink in Sierra Leone. You want to share with us?
Yes. So, as you can imagine, our organization really wants to have high-speed internet for each of our countries because it opens up a lot of things, not only communication, but also educational opportunities. And so, we've been blessed to have the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Malawi have the Starlink. And I was on a trip, mid-trip, and someone texted me, Starlink is opening in Sierra Leone. So yeah, I was on a trip and I was on personal time, and I immediately bought the kit because I didn't want the kits disappearing, right? Because they'll just buy them out, there won't be any left. So the dish will be in the hands of the staff within 2 to 4 weeks, and then they'll take it up to Bonta. They'll basically, if you've ever done a Starlink, the instructions are like a big card with no words. It just tells you plug this in and it does it. And so they'll have Starlink within about a month up in the very remote Bontamakeli of Sierra Leone. So we're very excited about that. The team over there is like, wow, they're cheering and excited. And so not only did we add a major solar upgrade to that remote campus, but now they're going to have high speed internet, which is very exciting. Malawi was actually ahead of Sierra Leone. We still are waiting for Uganda. That'll happen someday. That's the last country that needs it, but that's the news from the Starlink project.
Woohoo! Yeah, that's
Yeah.
huge.
I'm excited.
And
Good
so
progress.
speak. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. So with that news, which again is awesome and very going to be revolutionary for Sierra Leone, but we're really excited to hear from Malawi how Starlink has worked for you all so far. I think Malawi is the first Sierra Leone, or I'm sorry, the first Children of the Nations campus to get Starlink, right? So you have the most experience with how internet works. We're really excited to hear how is it working? What do you think has gone well? What do you think are some lessons learned that we could share with some of the other sites as start getting Starlink online?
All right, thank you so much. So Apata, I'm working with Children of the Nations International, but working from Malawi, Africa. So I've been working from 3 different offices so far. I've worked from ABC campus, I bid on Children of the Nations campus, and I also work from home. So I invited 2 members. I see 3 right now, maybe there are more, that use Starlink on a daily basis.
Oh, wow.
So that we can have true feedback from how it has been so far. So let me invite Maynard, the Director of Finance and Administration. I think the project was handed over to him. He has other people that are working with him. I see Stephen and Francisco. I think these are the guys that are hands-on on the all the processes there. So let me invite Maynard to start us off. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, Apat, and thank you, everyone. Yeah, in Malawi, we enjoy the use of Starlink, especially in the main building. At first, it was able to connect the other office structures, but later, after some weeks, it hasn't been possible to have a perfect connection in the rest of the buildings, except the main building where the Starlink connection is based. We have tried to contact some service providers to come and assist us to improve the connectivity, but it has all failed. So that's the experience that we've had. When
So
we're
you're
in the
saying,
other,
oh, sorry, a question. Does that mean it works really well? Like, is it shared wirelessly within that main room where the main terminal is? But you're saying you can't get good connection outside of that main, like the main room or area where it's connected?
yes, yes, it's perfect in the main building, which has got about 7 rooms, 7-room offices. There we are, there it's properly connected. But in the other buildings, it has poor connectivity.
And I
Yeah.
assume, is it wireless? You connect to it wirelessly?
Yes, wireless. It's on wireless.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, maybe if I can add as well from what Minant just said.
Yes, you can, Francisco.
Okay, thank you. I'm Francisco. I'm also working in Malawi as a spiritual care coordinator, and also I'm also helping with the internet as well. So, like previously, we just received like the first kit that we received was just the Starlink, which we were told that maybe probably it will cover the whole campus. But it happened that when we connected, the Mbps which we were able to receive, which like it's like the speed which we received was 86, sometimes 80, 80, 86, 86, 85, which was the speed. We were able to just use the main office, as Menad has just said. Then there was another guy who came. I don't know his name, Jeff, or the guy who works with solar. If maybe you may know him. He came and he recommended us to use the adapter to make sure that the internet was able to be extended to other offices. And then Dev Shetter bought the adapter, and we tried now to put it on internet or on wireless to make sure that it was able to extend to other offices. Then the few days that we were able to use, it worked, but because our office are just stretched, like we have a gap between the offices. There's the Salima campus, and we have the school, and also we have the main offices, which was quite for us to stretch the internet to other offices. Then it happened that it just worked for a few weeks, and then until now working to other offices. So the only offices that we are able to use the internet so far is the main office, which, as Mena says, we only have few rooms, and we have a few staffs that people are able to use. It's working perfectly, to be honest. But the challenge is that the other offices, they're not able now to use the internet. We are only the ones using the internet.
Jeremy, it sounds like it's probably a repeater kind of thing that needs to be extended out across the campus.
Yes.
And then, as Evan has put in the chat, it's always a mix of how much can we spread across the whole campus, and then what's the bandwidth. So now that Starlink's in Malawi, and we have the unit there, and then we can repeat it so there's at least some distance to the other buildings, because it is more than just the one building. then you can get a test for bandwidth and go, well, you know, the bandwidth, it's working, it's better, but it's not enough. And then we can make decisions on whether a second Starlink's needed, or, you know, and then you can really test out the system. Because I would admit to you that covering that whole campus with one Starlink could be a stretch, but it could be perfectly fine. We don't know that, and that's part of, thank you for that feedback, because people like Evan and Jeremy are going to be going on a trip to Sierra Leone to extend theirs, and that's that campus is huge. I mean, Sierra Leone's property is massive, so it's all like, well, what is important? Is it important that we do the upper part of the campus, or we get it to touch the ICA high school? Because part of it is getting into the schools. So.
Yeah, Dave, Evan and I have been working on a plan to try and figure out a way to extend Wi-Fi from the administrative building over to the high school in Sierra Leone. And it's quite a challenge just from a distance standpoint, right? Because the admin building is literally on the far side, and then the high school is on the other far side. But we think we've got some antennas that can do it, that are small enough that we can actually take in our suitcase. But I've actually got them sitting on my desk at home. I just haven't had a chance to test them out. I'm going to take him to a big field here in Michigan and basically make sure we actually can spread the Wi-Fi across the entire distance. So it's a challenge, but we think we can probably do it. So we might actually learn some really good lessons in Sierra Leone that we can take to Malawi after we get back, with different antennas and technology for spreading the Wi-Fi over the campus. It's probably an easier problem in Malawi because it's a smaller campus, right? There's a lot of distance to cover on the Sierra Leone campus.
And I just want to comment, I appreciate Menard saying that they're reaching out to vendors there to come up with solutions, because I'm certain that there's somebody there that could do repeaters on the campus to do it. It's not waiting for us necessarily. We collaborate with you, but if you're able to find, you know, a repeater that does the upper part of the campus, and then the next step is the lower part, I mean, feel free to do that, because it's meeting your needs over in Malawi, and we don't want you waiting for us. That's for sure.
The big question I have is, what kind of uses have you, like, how are you using Starlink at this point? Is it mostly administrative, or are you also using it for any kind of education or other uses that we hadn't thought of in the past?
Right. All right. I will ask Bernard to take that question, but I wanted to comment on my own behalf. I am working with the US office mostly, and our offices in the UK. So most of my meetings actually are done virtually. You can only tell the importance of having good connectivity there. So there was a time that the internet coverage in Malawi was so bad, because we usually use telecom companies here that provide internet. At such a time when I so much needed good internet, I was able to connect in the administration building that they're talking about. I sat there, I was able to go through a meeting smoothly. And I have seen some university students, I'm working with university students. I have seen some university students come up there because the Wi-Fi was mostly open. They've been doing a lot of schoolwork there. There's a lot of research that they need to do. I have seen them benefit from that, because it's also expensive for them to be buying internet bundles every day. Menard is the administration director there. I am sure that his team has been benefiting a lot from Starlink. So let's hear from him.
Yeah, thank you, Abbas. Just to add on what Abbas has said, the Starlink, yes, is mainly used by administrative staff or staff members for emailing and the online meetings. But then it also supports the students when they come to do some research and other activities. So we can't say that the Starlink is failing to give us good internet in the other buildings because of the students. No. In the main building, it can support as many students as possible together with the staff. But it's the link now to stability, consistency in the other buildings, which is a problem which also other service providers have failed to address that problem for us. Coming to the question to say, has it helped us to save costs? Tremendously, yes. It has helped us to save quite a lot because reliance on the internet provided by maybe the telecom companies was expensive and also mostly not consistent most of the times. They cannot provide better internet throughout because one day they tell you the fiber is this or there is this kind of problem. So really the Starlink has been a solution to us. And we do not have any intentions to, at one point, to stop using Starlink, but if anything, to continue contacting the service providers to help us to improve on the connectivity to other buildings. Otherwise, it's very great connectivity in the main administrative building. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think something else that being in the education department somehow, my hope has been to be able to take internet down to the school so that our students are not just relying on the printed materials. So one thing that I was excited about when I heard that Starlink is coming was just being able to supply internet to our International Christian Academy. So my hope is that the issues that they are currently facing would be resolved. We have a good computer lab down there in our school. I can only imagine the benefit that that computer lab would bring if we had internet in that lab. So as we are looking at how we can improve, I think that's a matter of a bit of urgency for me to really be able to provide internet to the school.
Yeah, that really good point. How far away do you think the school is from the main building? Like distance wise?
Yeah, it's a distance of about 400 meters.
400 meters? Okay.
Yeah, 400 meters, yes.
Yeah, I think that's seems doable. I have to look at the math, but yeah, we're looking at about that distance for the Sierra Leone site to try and get from the admin building to the high school there. So I think a line of sight antenna would probably work, or even potentially we want to look at thinking in the future, Dave and the rest of the COTN US team, maybe talking to the construction folks about, does it make sense to run some wire for some of these buildings, right? Like I know that's we have electrical conduit, but we've never really put in LAN cables before that I know of, but that could be something to think about in the future is what would it take to just run some cables between some of these buildings to share out the internet in the future. Like wireless is probably a much easier solution, but for some of these distances, when you start talking 400 meters and above, it can get kind of challenging. Evan and I are actually working on that problem right now, so we're hoping to figure out a solution. But that's a decent distance for a wireless transmitter, right? You have to get pretty specialized to get those kind of distances.
Well, if you don't mind, I will actually share my map screen real quick because it gives you a perspective. This happens to be for the solar that we're doing, so it's the best map I have. And right now, you know, the administrative building up here having the Starlink means that they have the offices with internet, and then there's open space for the students to come up and sit in large rooms. Right now, this is the solar battery backup system that needs the wire. They need the internet to send over the live data. These are more offices. This is more offices, and then there's the school. So it's almost like you're saying, for repeating, we need to repeat up here. And then if we repeat this direction down to the school, it's going to take care of these. So that's the kind of distances we're talking about for our campus.
Yeah, is that all relatively flat level?
It is, and then it's kind of slopes, and then this definitely slopes down. But
Okay.
it is line of sight. Technically, on the top of this, you could line of sight it.
Okay.
And keep in mind, again, this is a diagram for a solar project, so the dashed lines clearly don't exist. Those are just for the diagram. But one of the things that we did was an electric assessment of the campus, and these buildings do have power lines underneath. When we do the solar extension, we're going to put the system here, but we're going to have to trench out to, this is where the power for the local utility comes into the campus. So we're going to need to connect this across to here. So there are some ways in which we have access to some of the trunk lines underneath, but at the minimum, we're going to be having a line go out to here. So these are just some things to consider when you're thinking of a distance, but this is nowhere near the distances of Sierra Leone. Those are much, much wider distances. So if you can, you could definitely, you guys need to focus on the Sierra Leone because that's a very, very remote location and a wide distance. But when it comes to what Bernard was saying, totally get it. Looking for some vendors who can do the repeaters. That way we're not waiting for us to come over and do the work.
The Apostia, you mentioned the International Christian School. What is that? Is that a remote or an online training that you're doing?
Oh, so that's our secondary school, high school.
Oh, okay.
For children of the nations. That's what it is called. So it's
Okay.
yeah, that section that Dave was showing towards the down part of the diagram. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And there's the
oh,
original computer labs that we did that were not meant to be online. So they're like an offline setup with the books and the programs and all that. That's at the school, but that's good for the students to use. They can use that, and it has lots of materials and books, and it's all hardwired. But as we know, that's a great educational tool that could just run and use forever as long as it keeps running. But then, as you can imagine, education has so much to do online, and to repeat it down there is that's huge. I feel your desire, Patsa, to send it down there, because then you're unleashing education. I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah.
ask Stephen how it may be impacting his work.
Hi. Yes, my name is Stephen, and I'm the Village Partnership Program Coordinator. So I coordinate all the 3 villages which COTN is working with. And I'm glad that Starlink was able to come to Malawi, because before it, we really had big problems in trying to get ourselves connected. And the service providers we have in Malawi were not able to provide stable internet access on our campus. So as your question on how it has impacted my work, it has helped my work to be easier in terms of connectivity. I'm able to send and receive emails without hassle, without any difficulty. I'm also able to hold and participate in online meetings or virtual meetings altogether. I'm also a student, so I can do my research online with ease. The only challenge is the one that everybody else has talked about in terms of the radius. If you move out of the main building, it is very difficult to connect. So if we can have, if the radius can be increased so that the other buildings, like the country director's office that Dave Sheets was showing, which is in the upper section of our campus, is not able to connect, but also the down campus where we have the secondary school. And last month I was talking to the principal of the school. She was planning to get some dongles where they can connect to the computers in the lab so that they can be able to access internet, and they can also be able to update the programs and the softwares and the antiviruses in the computers at the school. So that showed me that there's big need for internet access at the school. But for the main campus, we're able to use it without problems. In fact, I've seen some of our university students, they come to the main building and they have access to the internet. And also one thing that I like about Starlink is that it's easy to get connected. You don't need passwords and all that to get connected. I think it's open. So once you get to the building and then the signal comes, you click, you're connected. It's so easy to use, user friendly. So that's what I can say about the connectivity and the use of the internet. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, yeah, so I think a lot of benefits right there for our staff members that are in the main building using Starlink. There's a lot of back and forth emailing with our counterparts, a lot of information that we have to send, especially when we're dealing with sponsorship materials, etc. A lot of training materials that we receive and send. So there were days that sometimes I remember when I was working from the main building consistently, there were times I would leave my computer at work so that some documents could load if they're big, because maybe the internet was very slow. Sometimes you'd have to try many, many times before it can actually load successfully. So I'm sure that with Starlink, a lot of those have challenges are gone. My prayer is that we'll continue to improve on what we have so that we keep getting better and better. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing a lot of good stuff going on. Have you thought about other things you might use the internet for beyond the current, and understanding that its limitations are like, okay, it's just in the administrative building right now. But have you thought through some of the potential things that you want to do, assuming that it could actually be brought down to the school area?
So Africa in general, we're just getting educated on online university education. So as the university program, we are planning to have our students, the children that are growing up, let's say the students, because they're over 18 now. Yeah, the ones that are going into university study online. That has been an impossibility for the longest of time because of the issues of internet. With good connectivity, our students will be able to study online. This year, actually, we are planning to do that with work-study program, so they can be working part-time and then studying part-time as well. So that's the hope. We are dreaming to have our students study online. That's going to be cost effective on our part, but also they'll be able to attend high quality education from all around the world. They can study from anywhere. So yeah, so that's our hope, actually, to have and also increasing access to university education for our students. That has also been an issue, because we can only send so much with issues of high tuition cost, boarding, etc. But with online studies, they can be at home and come on campus and study and go back home. So we feel like we'll be able to give access to quality university education to so many of our sponsored children. Maynard, what are you hoping to do with internet?
Yeah, we hope to, like in finance, we are planning to go online with our accounting system. So with the coming of Starlink, we hope that will give us a competitive edge, in that we shall be able to work from anywhere that we are in, and we should be able to respond to issues to do with our accounting system. Whether someone wants data, we shall be able to provide the data easily with this Starlink. And we hope to be able to use the Starlink in a manner that our files will be safe in the cloud. So won't get worried about these things that maybe the laptop has been storing. We are sure that it's just the hardware that has been storing, but the data is safe in the cloud. So we are really banking on the Starlink and the internet in general to be able to help us in finance and administration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Francisco that works in the spiritual care department. I'm sure he has hopes too. Let's hear from you, Francisco.
All right. Thank you so much, Apasa. From spiritual care department, like most of our curriculums that we do receive, they're from US for our department. And most of the times they're online, and whenever they're sending us, they send us huge files, which like previously, as Apasa said, was quite difficult for us to download big files whenever we are looking for them. But so far, so good. We are able to just download like a big file with lots of gigabytes for just a few minutes. We are able to download, and we are able to use the curriculums which are shared to our volunteers and also even our children. So with this Starlink, so far so good. The work has been so easy for us, because we are now at just one click, we are able to open an email. One click, we are able to open big files, which was quite difficult for years now. But now the kind of Starlink has made our sharing of documents easier with our counterparts from US and even also nationally, which is quite easier for our work, and also even for other departments as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I enjoy spiritual care activities a lot, because Francisco and his team use videos for children to learn. He has different curriculum for different ages. They do a lot of shows, video shows, so that the children can learn in an exciting way. I am sure that that is also a blessing. Just having good internet is a blessing for the children and for the team that he's working with. Uncle Steve, you have a lot of responsibility on you. You can also share what else you'd want to use the internet for.
Yes, thank you so much. So for me, as I said, that with my team, we're able to use the internet in terms of sharing of information, conducting meetings, but also in Village Partnership Program, we work in the villages. So we can't take the internet to the village, but we take a lot of photos, and we take a lot of stories, children's stories, to share with our partners and the international office. So when we get back to the office, the internet helps us to connect and share with our friends from to the international office. So sending of photos through our sponsorship coordinator has been so easy because the photos are with high resolutions and are big. So in terms of sending those photos to the international office has been easy for the sponsorship coordinator. But also I'm one of the people that manages the Facebook page for COTN Malawi. So our aim this year going forward is to share a lot of stories, a lot of activities on what God is doing in Malawi. So we make so many posts on Facebook and Instagram and other social media platforms. So we use the internet, and we hope that the Starlink will also help us to, as we are sharing those stories, as we're sharing those photos, will make our work easy. But at the same time, I'm also part of the procurement committee in Malawi. So we are a team of about 5 or 6 people, and we have different roles and work that we do in COTN Malawi. So sometimes we have to analyze papers and we have to meet, and sometimes it's not possible to meet physically. So we use the internet also just to meet for a few minutes. We discuss the procurement processes. If there are things that needs to be done, we use the internet a lot. So I am sure that Starlink is helping us a lot in terms of that. So yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Uncle Steve. Yes, so Jeremy, those are our hopes moving forward.
Hey, great. Thank you for sharing. We did have an interesting question in the chat from Paul on security of the internet. Have there been any concerns right now with viruses or systems being hacked as a result of having the internet? And then any issues around just controlling access? Have any of those issues come up?
Maynard, you could help us with that.
So far, no, we haven't experienced those kind of situations of hacking or viruses. We haven't experienced it really, but we are on the look. Should such a thing happens, we shall be quick to report to you for support. But we haven't had such a situation so far.
Yeah, maybe I think on the issue of controlling access as well, Steve and Francisco, maybe you may want to say something about that.
All right, on the control, because what we wanted was on the we were on trial, whereby we wanted to see if maybe we'll have 100 people connected, would the speed go down? We wanted to try that for now, so that's why we left it open to make sure that people can log in to see if the speed will go down. But now what we'll do is, because now we have seen that the speed is not changing and the Mbps is still the same. So what we'll do now is just to try to control, to say, because we can have a stranger just to come to our office and just use the internet. But now what going forward, what we'll do is just to make sure that we have an account for our students to use, and we have the account for our staff to use, and also even for our teams, whenever they are here on campus, they also have a separate account as well, to make sure that not everyone around the campus can be able to access the internet. but they'll have authorization to make sure that they use, because it's something else that the international office, they're paying also money. So we
Yeah.
want, yes, we also want to make sure not that the students that they don't abuse the internet from their school, like their school campus. We also have authorization whenever someone else is trying to log in the system, to make sure that the students, that they're not going into different sites that are not educational, but to make sure that they are also assisted through their studies. So going forward, that's how we're going to make sure that the internet is being managed at the campus.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem we have here in the United States, where if you have open wireless, you have people camp out in front of your house. Like, hey, what's going on? Why is my signal or my bandwidth all gone? But I think it's funny because when we first started doing wireless in the United States, probably 20 years ago when I first got it, most people left their wireless open because it was just easier. And then slowly, we pretty much no one does open internet anymore, just because the risks of having strangers connect to your wireless, right? So it's been a learning experience for us. We definitely have gone through some changes there. So I'm sure in Malawi you'll find similar things, right? If some of your neighbors start camping out with their laptop outside your gate, you'll know what's going on.
Yeah, very true.
And just so you know, in the last 6 months, Starlink added within the app a malware protection and a child access protection.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
So we sent that to each of our countries to check those boxes. So
that's great.
the Starlink system is based on the person at the location can go in the app with the login and password. They can manage it. So I could see the account, I could see the bandwidth and all that stuff, but I'm not going to control the mast. I don't control the actual dish from here. That's a protection for Starlink, that the user who's at the location, they would be the ones who could make those changes and change the password or set up accounts and things like that. So, but we've added those to all of our countries. We've turned those two settings on.
And Dave, what other countries right now have Starlink for COTN?
Oh, the Dominican Republic, they use it as a secondary internet because the office and everything's really hooked up deep with affordable internet. So this gives them a secondary one. As you can imagine, in many of our countries, one vendor with internet is not enough because it'll power outages and transmission lines, it doesn't work. Also, they can use that as a temporary dish at a school if they wanted to do specific activities. They can move the dish within town. Haiti completely changed everything because they had no, they had dongles and top-up cards, and it's all based on landlines and land dishes, and so it completely changed everything. Our Haiti staff was live talking with us, meeting. We're actually going to be having an online meeting with Haiti to do an update, planning that meeting right now. And the only reason we can actually have that video meeting live with our Haiti staff, when there's no teams going there, it's a security risk situation. The only way we could do that is Starlink, because it's live video. And our liaison's like, I've never had meetings where I didn't just drop all the time. She says they had a whole 2-hour meeting without any drops. And then Malawi's the third one. So
okay.
Sierra Leone will be the fourth, and then Uganda eventually when they get the approvals.
Great. The one other question from Malawi, how easy is it to get access to laptops in the country? Do do many people have laptop computers, or do most people use cellular phones as their primary way to connect to the internet?
In Malawi, most people do not have laptops, but have smartphones to connect the internet.
Okay.
Laptops are quite expensive, and also while the cell phones provide so many kind of advantages that they can use as a computer, they can type some information, while at the same time it's handy, things like those. And it's relatively cheaper than a laptop, a better laptop.
Yeah, that was the experience in Sierra Leone, where pretty much everyone had a cell phone and everybody had the kind of the cellular data connections, but then laptops were pretty rare and few and far between in Sierra Leone as well. The question from Evan, and this is probably more for Dave, is there any interest in connecting all of the COTN campuses once they get reliable internet?
Well, and I just spent time answering it. It's like, I didn't know you can VPN across countries. Listen, all of our countries to be able to have high-speed internet with security, with an interlink. I think many people in their minds may be watching this or thinking, oh, it's USA wants to talk to each country and then have that communication back and forth because we have all these important meetings to have. Actually, this is for Malawi and Haiti and the DR and Uganda and Sierra Leone to interconnect, because they are each teams working in community development, talking with each other. They're already emailing each other and having collaboration. So the day is already here that COTN, Sierra Leone, Malawi, and Uganda talked about what's your approach for COVID and shutting down the campuses and protections with the DR and Haiti. So I didn't realize you could VPN in remote locations in different countries. That's really cool. And yeah, if that helps all those sites become even more secure, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, definitely something for us to think about in the future. I think we're still a little bit far away from that, but as we get more and more Starlink capability, then yeah, it may make sense at some point to create some kind of consolidated COTN virtual network. But more to follow. Paul, you had reached out to me and about sharing the digital reading testing. Yeah, I'd love to hear about that.
Right. So there's another young man that's a part of our meeting, Andrew Morgan. He's been working and developing with me some assessments. I'm holding up some paper assessments. These are part of what's called the DIBBLS assessment, Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. And up till now, we've just been using these paper versions, which are kind of cumbersome and costly for our countries to photocopy an individual testing booklet for each student. So Andrew has been helping to develop assessments that are going to be able to be used on these tablets, and in accordance with some paper, minimal paper that students would read from, and then it's connected with a organization called Kobo Toolbox. Andrew, do you want to talk to this some?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Kobo Toolbox is a pretty neat piece of software used for creating all sorts of forms. It's typically used for doing surveys in rural areas where you don't have an internet connection or anything. And the cool thing about it is you can download the data onto the tablet and then automatically upload the data once it connects to Wi-Fi or some cellular data connection. So we've been working with that. It's based in Excel forms, so I've had to work with that technology quite a bit to develop some testing solutions, and we are right now in the middle of testing that to make it better and fit. We're working with several different people to make it work for everybody. So that's where we're at with that right now. Really cool piece of software. It's working really great for what we're trying to do.
So I just spoke with Naomi Kafide, the education coordinator in Malawi, a couple days ago about this idea, and she's enthusiastic about bringing this testing to COTN Malawi. Again, we've used it some in the paper format, as I mentioned, but these tablets could be carried to Mzlitsa, Chalumbo, Magwai, remote areas that Andrew was just referring to, where they may not have internet and certainly don't have Starlink yet. But and then when they return with the tablets to the main campus where Starlink is, they automatically will upload the data that's been recorded from our preschoolers and their reading skills. So we would be able to see that data and analyze it and then share it with the teachers at these locations to help the students in their progress and learning about what their problem areas are and how we can support them. So this can really raise the bar as far as reading expectations in these three preschool learning centers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
As well as at Big John's, they're nearby the campus.
Yeah. It's you can also integrate it directly into Power BI and create live dashboards, so you can be analyzing all the data all at once. And I'm also working on a connection to our COTN's database, and that is also coming along pretty well. So we can relate it to the information we already have on the children. So
very cool.
So Andrew, you've brought in a new topic again, Power BI. Are you able to train other staff on Power BI? I'm interested in it.
Oh, Power BI?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do so much with it. You can make graphs and all sorts. What's your experience so far?
I haven't done a lot on Power BI, but
Okay.
I'm interested on those summaries, graphs, slices, and things like those.
Yeah.
I'm very much interested to learn more about it.
Yeah. Well, we should get on a meeting sometime. I could show you. I've learned tons about it recently, and would be happy to share what I've learned so far. Really cool, Pete. Really cool stuff you can do. It's so much fun.
Menard, I just want to encourage you. This old guy is learning from Andrew, and this clunky brain. Within a little bit of time, I'm pulling reports. I really actually don't know everything that I'm doing, but he's told me all the steps to do. So but how exciting it is to have this kind of technology help us as an organization. I mean, think about the day coming when the teachers can do these tests, and then it comes to the site and it uploads the data, and the education team, as well as we could be rolling this out to other countries, you can see all of those data points pop up and see where the kids are on the reading levels, and that's just the reading. That's just those tests. There's so many more things to do, and I'm looking forward to live data, live dashboard population, even if it's just once a day updates. That's what I'm working on right now for the international.
I'm going to be experimenting with direct query, which is like instantaneously live. And so you can be seeing it like just as soon as data is uploaded, start updating reports. So I'm going to see if that's possible. I've also been talking with Cassia. She's who introduced us to Kobo Toolbox, and she has a bunch of big plans for being able to use this to understand the country she's working in, and so yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Great. We'll learn a lot from you. And
very good.
We'll need to get a Power BI on the training schedule. Now that they have Starlink, we can have a virtual training.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. We have Jessica with us here. I would like to introduce herself.
So, hi, I'm Jessica Baker. I work out of the Silverdale office and sometimes remotely from home. But when you guys have a bunch of the staff member, I think not all of the staff have cotni.org email addresses. And that comes with not just an email address, but an actual account for Office, for Word and Excel and Teams. And you guys probably already know all that. I don't know if all of the staff who have those accounts know that, but we have 2 or 3 people in every country that have difficulty with their multi-factor authentication. And I've talked to a couple of the liaisons, and we'd really love to have some kind of a tech liaison in each country to help people set those multi-factor authentications up. And I think you guys may already have that, and I'm just not aware of it. Jim mentioned Francisco, but he has a habit of thinking I know everybody already. And so I'm assuming you're the Francisco that he mentioned, because there's no last names in any of the things he says. And in COTN, there is more than one Francisco, and process of elimination leads me to you. There's only 2. But then I go and look at your account and I don't have a title in there. I don't have a country in there. So I'm assuming you're in Malawi.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then what is your title? Francisco, are you a VPP manager? What's your title?
Okay, I am the spiritual care coordinator.
Okay.
And I'm also, I also help with kind of like IT things here. Whenever someone else, they have challenges with a little bit of computers, internet, or their gadgets, I kind of like help them as well. So I'm also learning. I'm not all that expert, but I only have the knowledge about that. So I also help here at the office.
Well, believe it or not, everyone in IT is still learning. There's a vast amount that none of us know yet.
Yeah, thank you.
We're all learning little bits. So I'll send you an email later and we can get connected.
All right.
Thank you.
Francisco's also a former soccer coach here in Kitsap County.
Really?
You remember that?
Nice. Very good. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time of to talk to us today. It was very helpful to understand what you're dealing with and how the internet is helping and some of the challenges still remaining. So thank you so much for taking the time today. But I know we're kind of at the time now, so I'll close it off and pass it over to Dave for any last closing thoughts.
Thank you. And thank you for all of you here, as well as those listening in. We'll be posting this on YouTube to share, and we'll be sending out the link to everybody. As you know, as an organization, we're trying to raise up children to transform nations. And that, to me, is launching them into careers, launching them into all the variety of ways that they're going to be leading those countries. Science and technology are some of the great areas in which the students and the education teams are working. So I can't not mention that as an organization, we would appreciate it if you would consider coming alongside, joining these meetings. Please send in your email to, well, you see my name up on the screen, but you can just say Dave Schertzer at cotni.org, or just call our office and we'll get you on the tech team. Announcements. When I think about education, I think about technology. The one area I would suggest or ask you to consider giving or investing is in our university scholarship fund, because we are this whole discussion centers around students who are going to be able to study and go to university right from where they are. They don't have to go to the capital. They don't have to go to another country. They can be right online. There's tons of online degrees that they can have. So fast forward to a community that the community meets and says, you know, we just need another well because we need more water access because the other one dries up part of the time. And the community themselves says, well, we'll just build it. We don't have to wait for someone to fund it. We'll build our own well. Some of those will be answered by our graduates who live in those communities, who have employment, remote employment from right where their community is, and they get to help their own community develop and grow. This kind of technology completely changes the game as far as education and university, plus the high schools and the ability to access technology, plus the tools we've talked about for primary and preschool. So in that vein, there's a lot of ways you can invest, but the University Scholarship Fund, we do our best to get scholarships, and your investments come alongside those students to get them the opportunities for degrees so that they can move on and be part of the leadership. Also, that we do vocational programs, and quite frankly, a lot of the vocational students, they actually get jobs and are good paying jobs in the country. So we also have vocational programs for our students. Combined together, we are launching kids into full careers. I can tell you story after story. But thank you so much for listening in, being part of this, being interested in it. And if you're other organizations, other nonprofits, global thinkers, global technologyists that are interested in this kind of discussion to bring it to the table, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to add your knowledge to our knowledge to advance this in all the corners of the world. There are millions of people with who are given new access to technology, with the tools, and they're going to advance their countries. Let's be part of a larger team than even just COTN. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. We're signing out now. And again, we will be posting this on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Thank you.